listener to Serenity, Swan song of the Emerald Shallows, a tranquil and enchanting sleep story designed to guide you into a peaceful night's rest. If you are enjoying this content and would like to experience more narratives like this one, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Before we immerse ourselves into the serene world of the Emerald Shallows, we will start with a gentle breathing guidance that will help you to let go of the day and relax your mind and body. If you prefer to skip directly to the story, you can find the timestamps for each chapter listed in the video's description box. To begin, find a comfortable position, allowing your body to sink gently into your bed or wherever you have chosen to rest. Settle yourself in, adjusting your blankets and pillows so they feel just right. This moment is for you, a time to let go of the day and embrace the quiet of the evening. Let the gentle story of Kiska and her journey into understanding wash over you and carry you further into deep relaxation and ease. Let's take a soothing breath together now. Inhale slowly and calmly through your nose, allowing the air to fill your lungs completely and comfortably. Then, exhale gently through your mouth, like a soft sigh of relief as you release any lingering tension that might reside in your body. With each breath, feel yourself becoming softer, more relaxed and comfortable. Imagine yourself surrounded by the calm waters of the shallows. Feel the cool, gentle breeze as it moves your hair and skin as you slowly start to disconnect from the outside world. If at any point your mind starts to wander, that's perfectly alright. Simply observe the thoughts as they drift by and gently, calmly turn your attention back to the sound of my voice or the gentle rhythm of your breath. There's no need for you to do anything other than listen and allow the story to carry you deeper into the state of restful slumber. Feel the rhythm of life within the shallows and allow the peacefulness of Kiska's journey to guide you gently as it washes away all your concerns. Chapter 1. The Stillness of the Shallows. The Emerald Shallows, a place once brimming with life and light, now lay hushed beneath a veil of stillness. The water, usually a vibrant, clear emerald green, was now a muted, almost murky hue. It stretched out like a vast, still mirror, reflecting the dullness of the sky above. A mirror that once mirrored the warmth of the sun, the gentle, playful ripples that had always danced on its surface were now absent, replaced by an unsettling smoothness that felt almost melancholic. The sunlight, which once sparkled like 1,000 tiny jewels scattered across the shallows, now seemed to filter through an almost invisible film, barely casting a dim, weak glow. The surrounding reeds, usually swaying gracefully in the breeze, stood as if they too had succumbed to this strange, pervasive quiet. Their vibrant green had faded slightly, now a soft, almost muted olive tone. The small birds, who once chirped their cheerful melodies throughout the day, were now largely silent, their occasional calls sounding more like soft sighs than songs of joy. A gentle, heavy atmosphere enveloped the whole of the shallows, a profound absence of the lively energy that once characterized it. It felt as though the shallows itself was holding its breath, waiting for a return to what it once was. Kiska, a young swan with unusually iridescent plumage, felt the change more keenly than the other birds. Her feathers, which normally shimmered with hues of blues and greens as she moved, now appeared to absorb much of the light around her, their brightness toned down, mirroring the shallow state. Every day she would spend time alone at the water's edge, a place where she always went to find a peaceful moment for herself. Kiska noticed the stillness most acutely seeing as the waters she usually loved to swim in were now dull and uninviting. She longed for the days when the shallows were alive with vibrant life, full of light and joyful sounds. She would often dip her beak into the water, almost as if seeking to understand its silence. To find the cause of the shift, she moved through it slowly, observing the small fish that swam aimlessly, their scales a shade duller than usual. She watched the tadpoles who used to swim playfully through the tall algae, now hiding away under their leaves, almost as if afraid. Kiska could not recall the last time she saw the area around her so devoid of life. Even the small frogs that hopped playfully on the lily pads were now lethargic, their usually boisterous croaks now reduced to soft, infrequent murmurs. Kiska often found herself spending hours simply observing. She would watch how the gentle breeze brushed the reeds, making them whisper in soft, hushed tones, observing how the sunlight created a warm embrace around her as she perched at the edge of the water. Even through the stillness that surrounded her, the light still gently shimmered off her feathers, casting a soft, calming light over her surroundings. Her movements were slow, calm, and gentle as she shifted from one foot to the other, finding a comfortable position from where to continue her observations, her gaze fixed in the same spot. As dusk began to settle, Kiska returned to her quiet corner among the reeds, a serene and reflective space she often came to. There, she watched the pale orange colours spread across the water's surface as the sun began to set. Even as the darkness crept closer, she felt a small sense of calm within the silence, the kind of stillness one finds when surrendering to the moment. Her heart ached at the lack of joy in the shallows, but there was also a quiet resolve brewing within her, a silent promise to seek a path towards restoration and tranquility. As she closed her eyes, Kiska felt herself slowly drifting into the silence around her, the sounds of the still waters and the quiet rustle of the reeds becoming the soundtrack to her dreams. The soft breeze moved her feathers ever so slightly, as it did all of her neighbours, caressing each of them to sleep. She knew in her heart that there had to be more to the story than just stillness. She had to find a purpose and bring the shallows back to what it used to be. She breathed deeply, preparing herself for what the next day will bring, her heart filled with hope that something will bring change to her home. With that thought, she fell into a deep, peaceful slumber, ready to face another day with determination. A soft, calming sensation embraced her, as she felt the surrounding serenity embrace her in return, bringing her the peaceful respite she so desperately longed for, and preparing her for whatever might lie ahead in her pursuit of tranquility. Chapter 2. Echoes in the Reeds. The following day dawned with the same muted light that had settled upon the emerald shallows, but within Kiska's heart there was a quiet sense of resolve, a subtle understanding that she was not going to spend her day observing as the day before. Her morning ritual was no different than usual. She spent a few moments with her family, her siblings and mother, before deciding to go on an exploratory journey along the edges of the shallows. Kiska had felt a peculiar pull during the previous night, a faint sense that something was calling to her from the quiet corners of the marsh. With that thought, she started moving in that general direction, with no particular goal. She let herself be guided by the feelings in her heart. As she ventured along the edge of the shallows, she allowed her gentle curiosity to guide her. She glided gracefully through the still waters until she found herself near a small alcove hidden amidst the reeds. She had not noticed this area before, even though she had spent her days exploring these areas with curiosity. was a small inlet, almost entirely encircled by tall, slender reeds that grew a bit more closely together than the rest. They appeared to almost form a protective wall around the space. The reeds there were slightly taller than average, and appeared to glow ever so slightly in the sunlight. As a soft breeze swept through, Kiska heard something peculiar, a series of gentle notes being created by the movement of the reeds. The gentle rustling of the leaves started to resonate in a way that sounded different than just a normal noise made by wind. It was soft, melodic, almost like a forgotten lullaby being whispered through the air. A tune that seemed to soothe and embrace all those who heard it. Kiska moved a bit closer, tilting her head to better hear the sound. As she settled closer to the alcove, she noticed how the wind was gently caressing the leaves, creating a rhythm in its movement, a rhythm that matched the music being played by the reeds. Kiska felt an immediate connection to the sound. A warm sensation washed over her, as if she had stumbled upon a secret treasure. She had never heard anything quite like it before, and her entire being felt like it was resonating with the music of the reeds. It was different from the soft sounds of nature she was used to. This was a melody, a sequence of soft and gentle notes. She closed her eyes and allowed the sound to flow into her. She felt herself swaying ever so slightly, carried by the tune as if it was an invisible force. Intrigued by what she had heard, Kiska began to try to replicate the soft tune, letting out a gentle hum from her throat as she listened to the sounds of the reeds. Her initial attempts sounded a bit dissonant. She was still trying to understand the specific notes and melody she had just heard. But as she practiced, she started to better understand the rhythm, the way the wind moved the reeds, and how her voice needed to follow. It felt like a call from her heart, a desire to capture this soothing sound and to make it part of her own language, to carry this sound with her at all times. The sun continued to rise, bathing the emerald shallows in a slightly warmer light than the day before. With each passing moment, Kiska felt more determined to learn the melody, the gentle lullaby of the reeds. She realised this alcove could be more than just a place for her, that she needed to come back every day to practice her hum and try to replicate the soothing sounds that moved her heart. She could feel in her soul that there was an ancient wisdom in this small alcove, that its secrets were about to unravel for her. She spent the remainder of the morning there, swaying back and forth to the sound of the reeds, practicing and trying to find the perfect rhythm in her voice. She didn't feel any hunger nor tiredness. She was simply mesmerised by this new form of communication between the reeds and herself. The reeds felt like they had been waiting for her all this time, for someone to finally listen to the sounds they were making, and that their purpose was finally being revealed. The wind gently caressed her wings and her neck feathers, almost as if she was also being guided by the rhythm. As the day grew warmer, and she started to feel the effects of a long day of exploration, Kiska made her way back home, but not before turning back and acknowledging the secret alcove. She bowed her head as a sign of respect and thanks, and with a promise in her heart that she would come back the following day, carrying with her the image of the alcove and the sounds of the soothing tune as she settled to sleep. Chapter 3. The Whispers of the Elders. The following morning, Kiska awoke with a sense of quiet anticipation. The soft melody of the reeds had played in her dreams, and her heart felt a gentle pull towards the secret alcove once again. But before going there, she felt that there was something else she needed to do, a question in her heart that needed to be answered before she was fully capable of understanding what was happening to her. She decided that it was time to seek the wisdom of the elders. guardians of ancient tales within their flock. She hoped they would be able to understand this new feeling that resided within her, and perhaps teach her more about the sounds she had heard. She approached the gathering of older swans, her heart filled with a mix of hope and curiosity. Elder Cygnus, his feathers a soft grey and eyes filled with wisdom, greeted her with a gentle nod. Kiska's calm and soothing nature was appreciated by the elders who trusted her as one of the most perceptive members of the community. With gentle movements, she settled before the elders and began to speak about her experience from the previous day, carefully describing the unusual sounds that she had heard, as well as the feeling she had whilst trying to hum the sounds herself. The elders listened with quiet attention, their faces showing no signs of surprise, almost as if they had heard about the sound before. When Kiska finished recounting her experience, Cygnus looked at her with kind, thoughtful eyes and smiled ever so slightly, as if he had a deep understanding of everything she had mentioned. He told Kiska about old tales, long forgotten by the younger members of the flock. Tales of a special melody hidden within the shallows, a melody with the power to soothe and heal not only the land, but also all of its inhabitants. He recounted stories of times when the shallows had fallen into similar states of stillness in the past, how a single swan had managed to bring the life back with an ancient song that resonated deep within the heart of the land itself. They called it the Song of Serenity, a song so powerful that it could make the waters clear again, bring back the vibrant colours that once existed, and create joy and serenity in everyone who had the opportunity to hear it. Cygnus told her that the song was said to be hidden in the natural rhythm of the shallows, and that it could only be learnt by feeling its heart. He then gently directed Kiska towards a hollow tree along the shoreline, a place that was hidden from most of the other swans. Within its trunk lay an ancient book covered in algae and moss, almost as if it was trying to camouflage itself. He explained to her that the book contained more information about the melody and that it would help her on her journey. The tree had been there since time immemorial and was a special place of wisdom and knowledge for the inhabitants of the shallows. Kiska approached the tree with gentle reverence, feeling its ancient presence resonate with her own heart. With gentle care, she retrieved the book from its resting place, noticing how it felt, almost as if it was breathing in her hands. Her heart started to pound with a mix of excitement and awe, understanding that she was finally about to uncover what was causing this magical sensation she was feeling. It was slightly old and weathered, but still in a usable state. Returning to the elders, she carefully opened the book, noticing that the pages were mostly empty, apart from small musical notations spread across its many pages. She realised the words were not meant to be read, but rather felt. The elders then guided her on how to approach the sounds, telling her that the tune was meant to be felt rather than heard, that she had to let her heart guide her every step of the way. Kiska felt a new sense of purpose wash over her, a deeper understanding of what she was meant to do in her path. Cygnus and the elders wished her luck on her quest, giving her their quiet support, trusting in her ability to help restore the Emerald Shallows. Her soul felt light, knowing that she had support from the flock and that everything would be all right. The responsibility felt heavy on her shoulders, but she knew in her heart that with her intention, her soft and caring nature, she would be able to bring about the change she longed for. With a gentle nod to the elders, Kiska turned her gaze towards the secret alcove with a renewed sense of determination, carrying the ancient book carefully in her beak, excited to begin the next phase of her journey towards serenity and understanding. Chapter 4. a sense of peace, almost as if she had been away for a long time. The soft tune of the wind moved the reeds, as always, in a slow and graceful way, and the small book she had with her vibrated slightly as she approached the alcove. With a gentle and loving movement, Kiska set it down next to her, careful not to damage the fragile pages, and opened it before her. The notations of the music felt like a roadmap of her soul, a guided way to reach the desired outcome, her purpose and true potential. She spent a long moment with her eyes closed, trying to make sense of the feeling the notations brought to her, and listening to the soft rhythm of the reeds, allowing their gentle movements to be her guide in learning the ancient song. She opened the book and started humming the first musical phrase, letting her voice guide her every step of the way. With each passing hour, the hums became more deliberate. She was understanding the rhythm, the intervals, and the emotions that the sounds intended to convey. The first notes she sang felt soft and gentle, as if trying to establish a connection with the place. She found a quiet spot among the reeds, where the gentle breeze created a soft symphony, and she would hum the music while the wind swayed the reeds. The combination of both creating a beautiful echo that filled the air. Her practices felt more like gentle explorations than work, and every sound that escaped her beak was filled with purpose and intent. She sang with every fibre of her being, and she would then close her eyes, letting the music move through her body as it gently embraced her. As the days turned into weeks, Kiska's hum became a gentle, melodious song. The notes were not just sounds, but vibrations of serenity that seemed to resonate with her and with all that surrounded her. She began to understand how the ancient song was meant to be an expression of pure intent, each note representing a gentle step toward a more serene and calm state of being. She started to feel a powerful connection to the place and to the notes, like she was channeling the heart and soul of the shallows through her melodies. She began to observe changes around the alcove. The water began to show more vibrancy. The plant life seemed to respond positively to her singing, and small, curious creatures were gathered to listen. Little by little, she saw how the song was already working its magic, even in that small corner of the shallows. It was as if the alcove was coming back to life, with the sounds that Kiska created during her practices. The water would shimmer in the light, and the reeds would glow a little more than they usually did. She would often take breaks to sit by the edge of the water, observing the tiny fish that came closer and closer every day, listening to the music she had dedicated herself to practice. They would swim in synchronized patterns, as if they were also moved by the ancient song. She would also feel them closer to her heart. It was almost as if a silent communication was being formed between her and the small fish, and all the little creatures that came to listen to her practices. The song was not only a gift from the shallows to the world, but it was a shared experience, meant to bring everyone together in harmony. The sun began to set as Kiska finished her practice for the day, feeling a sense of deep gratitude towards the alcove, towards the elders, and towards her destiny. She had come far in a short amount of time, and it felt like she was on the correct path. Her heart felt at peace, knowing that the ancient song would slowly bring the shallows back to its old self. She closed the ancient book and took a moment to appreciate her progress. With a gentle bow to the swaying reeds, Kiska returned home, her heart filled with a serene understanding that with each passing day, the song was slowly bringing the emerald shallows back to life, and with it bringing calm and peace to the souls of the inhabitants. She smiled slightly, and with her determination as her only guide, she settled down for the night, ready to practice once more on the following day. Chapter 5. The Ripple of Kindness. As the weeks passed, Kiska's mastery of the ancient song grew deeper and more profound. Her voice, once a simple hum, now carried a radiant melody that rippled through the emerald shallows, as clear and soft as the morning dew. Every morning she would wake up with excitement in her heart, and every evening she would feel her soul light as her practices helped her come closer to her goal. She continued to visit the alcove among the reeds and practice the soothing melody that resonated in her very being. But she started to become aware that the impact of her song was no longer just contained to that small corner. She began to notice how, as she practiced, the other creatures of the shallows would come closer to her, drawn by the soothing sound. The fish, once swimming aimlessly, now danced in rhythmic patterns near the reeds, their scales shimmering with a renewed vibrancy. They no longer seemed dull and lethargic, but rather full of life and joy. The birds, who had grown quiet, now joined her song, their soft chirps harmonizing with the notes, creating a symphony of life. Even the usually timid frogs started to hop closer, their gentle croaks adding to the peaceful ambience. The area surrounding her little corner had completely transformed. The muted greens and browns were now slowly being replaced with soft hues of yellow and violet. She had seen this happening slowly in the previous days, but now the change was impossible to ignore. Kiska's heart swelled with a gentle joy as she saw how her actions were slowly affecting the environment around her, bringing with her each note a sense of light and warmth. She had only started practicing for a short time, and she was already seeing the changes slowly but surely spreading. One particular morning, as she practiced near the water, she noticed Finian, the old, timid fish that usually hid himself away. He swam closer, his eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and wonder. He had never ventured near Kiska before, always observing her from afar. As Kiska finished the final note of the song, Finian slowly approached her, a silent communication established between them, a sense of gratitude that flowed through their hearts. His movement was slow and gentle, a sign that the old fish had given into the calming nature of Kiska's singing. From that day onward, Finian became a constant companion to Kiska, observing her practices and listening to the song, his fear and timidity being replaced with an inner calm and peace. It was as if the song resonated with his very soul, washing away his worries and insecurities. He, in return, started to gather other timid fish to listen to the sounds, encouraging them to overcome their fears and to listen to the call of the music, slowly and softly, encouraging them to come closer. He slowly started to embrace his new role as her silent companion. The ripples of kindness from the ancient song had begun to spread outward, beyond the reeds, beyond Kiska's small alcove. Other swans, noticing the change, would come closer, listening with a quiet reverence to the melody she produced with each practice. The music felt like a warm embrace, a gentle reassurance that serenity and peace were always possible, as long as they dedicated themselves to it. More and more members of the flock seized her were joining her every day, until the group became so large that it couldn't fit in the alcove. Her practices were now no longer private and intimate moments, but shared ones, and with each new person joining, the power of the ancient song grew stronger. Kiska realized that this was more than just a journey for herself. It was a path that she was paving for her whole community, a path filled with kindness, serenity, and calm. The feeling filled her heart and soul with peace, and she knew that the end was not far away. With the setting sun painting the sky with soft hues of orange and pink, Kiska ended her day of practice, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and quiet satisfaction. The ripples of kindness continued to spread throughout the shallows, bringing life and joy to everything in its path, and Kiska, with a smile on her face and a joyful heart, fell peacefully asleep that night, looking forward to sharing her gift with everyone. Chapter 6. Serenity's Return. The morning mist that had once hung heavy over the emerald shallows now gently dissolved, unveiling the vibrancy of the ecosystem in full bloom, as if it was awakening from a very long sleep. Kiska's heart was filled with a quiet knowing that the time had come to fully share the ancient song with all the inhabitants of the shallows. The days of quiet practice were over. It was time to allow the melody to flow freely through the entire ecosystem, and for its message to embrace everyone who listened. Her song was meant to unite, not to separate, and she finally understood this fully. She flew to the centre of the shallows, her iridescent plumage shimmering in the light, her heart filled with confidence and peace. A large group of swans joined her there, each one having been touched by the soft melody in different ways. Finian and all the other fish were jumping out of the water, eager to hear the final act of kindness and calm. All the birds flew around her, and even the timid frogs made a show of force by croaking as loud as their tiny throats could. It was as if nature itself had gathered there to celebrate this moment. With a deep, calming breath, she began to sing. The ancient melody filled the air, each note a clear, vibrant expression of serenity and hope, washing over everyone who listened, and each ripple in the water seemed to carry the sound further. A soothing, calm feeling spread over the whole kingdom. Her voice carried with it not just the tune, but also the intent, the desire for a peaceful and joyful coexistence. It was time to let go and allow nature to take over and finish the rest. As the song soared through the shallows, the water began to transform, its murkiness clearing to reveal its emerald green depths. The algae that had covered its surface slowly dispersed, and the flora around the shores started to bloom in vibrant colours. The muted browns and greens had turned into a rainbow, as if the shallows itself was wearing its finest dress. It was like watching a painting come to life, a beautiful scene for the eyes to marvel in. The birds sang joyfully, the fish danced with renewed energy, and even the shyest creatures of the shallows came out into the sunlight, basking in the glow of peace that had finally arrived. The transformation was not only external. Everyone who listened to the ancient song felt a sense of calm settle in their hearts. Old tensions dissolved, worries faded away, and you were replaced with a sense of shared joy. Everyone knew that what they had experienced today would remain with them for as long as they lived. The transformation of the emerald shallows was complete, now resembling its ancient state, filled with life and harmony, thanks to the determination, resilience, and peaceful nature of a single swan. It was a testament to the transformative power of kindness, resilience, and intent. From that day on, it was forever changed by her small acts of service. Kiska looked around her, her heart swelling with gratitude as she watched all of the inhabitants of the shallows play together in harmony. Kiska continued to sing the ancient melody each day, her voice a beacon of hope and peace, a reminder of what can be accomplished with pure intentions. The emerald shallows thrived once more, a reminder that with gentleness and a commitment to a serene and joyful state of being, true restoration was always possible, no matter the obstacles. Kiska's small act of kindness had become a testament to how much the world could change through calm perseverance and gentle nature. As the sun set that day, Kiska settled into her peaceful spot among the reeds, her heart full, her mission accomplished. The emerald shallows, once still and melancholic, was now full of life, and the ripple of kindness had finally reached every single inhabitant of the land. From the smallest tadpole to the oldest swan, the ancient song would continue to be a reminder of the power of gentleness and a continuous call for peace, a lasting legacy of serenity finally restored.